Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So it's a meta guide today. We have all three leagues returning for the final week. It's going to be the Open Grade, Open Ultra, and Open Master League. You can play whichever league you feel most comfortable with in the final week. I'm only going to do a meta guide for the Great League, and then we're going to have the new season, right, soon, beginning June 1st. That should be when it begins, right? Yeah, I'm recording this ahead of time. By the time this video drops, maybe the new season was announced. Probably not, but just keep in mind this is currently for the current season, of course, not next week's season. So yeah, well, not next season, I should say. But with that being said, welcome to another video. Good luck to you. If you haven't reached your goals yet, there's still time. We do have another week. Hopefully you get there, whether it be legend, expert, veteran, whatever your goals are. Good luck to you. If you don't get them this season, there's always next season to try for it and continue to learn and improve. Thank you for hanging out with me for another season. I really do appreciate it. I'm more so on Twitch nowadays. I do generally just upload, clips of my sets to YouTube. I just don't have a whole lot of time because I'm working on other aspects of my life, like getting in shape, going to the gym. So I really don't have time to just sit down and record a video. And I also took up another hobby, including drawing. I used to draw a lot when I was younger. So yeah, don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and record and shoutcast like I used to. But yeah, I appreciate you all nonetheless. I think I've rambled on quite a bit. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So we have the Open Great League. So for the S rank, going to be Cresselia, super bulky. Really great Pokemon. Now, of course, there's multiple movesets. For this thing, not multiple, a couple different movesets. Usually it's either Grass Knot or Moonblast, or it's Moonblast Future Sight or Grass Knot Future Sight, I guess. I think when it comes down to the Great League, at least the open version of the Great League, I think I do prefer Grass Knot and Moonblast. You know, the fire types are resisting those moves, but you don't really see fire as often as you do like in the Ultra League. I know Skeledirge and Talonflame are a thing, but when it comes to this league, I feel like they're not super common. You might see them, and obviously if you do, maybe the other members of your team can cover that. But yeah, I mean, obviously like Grass Knot, Moonblast is going to be resisted by fire types. Future Sight does hit the fire types, but you know, yeah, so something to keep in mind. Then we have Registeel. Registeel's been good since the dawn of time, it seems like. Not the dawn of time, the dawn of Go Battle League, for sure. It's gotten moveset updates and adjustments, right? Back then it didn't have Zap Cannon. It has Zap Cannon now, which is amazing on Registeel. You know, it had Flash Cannon, Focus Blast. I think they both were nerfed. Focus Blast was buffed again at some point later on. So Registeel's kind of been back and forth, but it's been really good for the most part since the beginning, even after it was nerfed. It's just even better now. I don't know if they'll nerf it next season. Who knows? But something to keep in mind. Lickitung, I don't even know how you could nerf Lickitung. I mean, you would have to nerf the lick damage, I guess. But other than that, Lickitung Plus is really great, and it's really great because it's really bulky, right? With the Lick and Body Slam spam, just really strong. Pokemon, it could take hits for days, it could get shields or switch advantage, or just act as like a third shield, essentially, because of how bulky it is. Then we have Gligar, a Shadow Gligar. I generally prefer the Shadow version on Gligar, but the regular one I used once it was released for a good portion, for a while I used the regular one before I got a good Shadow one. But once it came back and I was able to get a good Shadow, or a decent Shadow one, I do use that. Then we have Feraligatr, another one I prefer the Shadow of. Just because I think it's a great safe swap. You know, I've beaten Lantern with Feraligatr. I mean, generally you're not going to beat Lantern, but like you could beat things you wouldn't normally expect with the Shadow version, I feel like. If you're running Crunch, right? I do like Crunch and Hydro Cannon on this, and of course Shadow Claw is a fast move. Then we have Scummy. So Scummy, of course, once Scummy had Air Slash, and it still has Air Slash, but Sky Attack was nerfed, so then like Air Slash was kind of hanging on by a thread, so to speak, right? It wasn't really that good, but ever since they buffed the Steel Wing, it was crazy, that buff. Scummy went from unplayable to like one of the best Pokemon, which is really great how they do that. I actually love how they do that with certain Pokemon. You could take it from being non-meta at all, for example, Feraligatr, to make it one of the best Pokemon in the meta. I love that. And then we have Lantern. So Lantern, they actually tried nerfing, and it does take a little bit longer to get to its moves, but Spark does do more damage compared to how it used to. So it's kind of like a trade. It's just as good as it always has been. Wishcash, Shadow Wishcash, both of them are good, honestly. Do you prefer the bulk or the damage? But Wishcash, the Scald, this is a Pokemon that needs to be nerfed, I feel like. So when it comes to Scald, in my opinion, I think they should drop the percentage of Scald debuffing to 30% and keep the damage. I still think it would be really good, right? It definitely would be. But you wouldn't hit those debuffs as often, of course. But it would still be a really strong Pokemon. Maybe they'll nerf it a little bit more, but I think that's reasonable. And then we have Annihilate. Annihilate came out last season, of course. Annihilate is just one of the best Pokemon, one of the best counter users. Actually, is the best counter user. You know, remember when Medicham was all over the place? Well, now it's Annihilate and Poliwrath. Moving on to the A rank, we do have Swampert or Shadow Swampert. So yeah, I mean, another Mud Boy. Wishcash is just better, in my opinion. It has more bulk. It has the debuff chance. It's just a better Pokemon. Super spammy. You know, Swampert is spammy as well. But yeah, just a great Pokemon. Cubbink's interesting. It's kind of like Bastiodon. I can talk about both of these. You really want good alignment when it comes to it. They're super tanky. But if you have a bad lead, you're going to have to like pivot out for the most part. I mean, Cobbink has more play than Bastiodon, I would say, into bad matchups. For example, against Gligar. For example, or even for Alligator, although you don't want to battle for Alligator either, with either of them, but, you know, I think it's a little bit better than Bastiodon, but again, it's a Pokemon that really wants alignment and does benefit from it. Mantine, you know, Mantine's an interesting one, and it's really good. I mean, they've buffed every move that Mantine has besides Ice Beam. Ice Beam never got a buff, who knows, maybe next season, right? Who knows, but, Wing Attack was buffed at one point. Aerial Ace was buffed at one point. Water Pulse was buffed this season. Now, some people still prefer Ice Beam, and I think I prefer Ice Beam, to be honest. But Water Pulse is definitely a solid pick as well. Could go either way. Mandibuzz is ultra thick. So, yeah, I mean, great. Umbreon of the Skies, right? I think Zionic called it that, or Flying Umbreon at one point years ago. And it really is. It really is great Pokemon. Super tanky. It could take hits for days. It seems like it always gets to a last-second Aerial Ace before it faints. It just always gets to those final moves. But yeah, really good Pokemon. We talked about Bastiodon. Quagsire is another one. I feel like Quagsire... I've used Quagsire a decent amount this season. I didn't use it in the Open Great League a whole lot, but I used it in like specialty cups. I actually hit Legend with a Shadow Quagsire, and I was running Stone Edge Aqua Tail on it, but of course, Aqua Tail, Mud Bomb, Stone Edge. There's a combination of movesets. Not as good as the Wishcash, in my opinion, but still really good. Azumel, of course, really powerful Pokemon, really thick as well. Throughout the years, they have released answers to Azumel that are really good. For example, Charjabug, but Lantern as well, though I guess Lantern's always been here, but... yeah, I mean, just a really good Pokemon. I think it's a really good save swap as well, and yeah, just a great Pokemon to use. And then we have we do have that Charjabug. Charjabug, ever since it got the Volt Switch Community Day, I'm telling you, I mean, this thing is not only good in Go Battle League, but it's also good in the Play Pokemon circuit as well. Yeah, one of the best electric types. I still prefer the Lantern, but, I mean, obviously Charjabug, they're both really, really strong. But, yeah, I mean, great Pokemon all around. Moving on to the B rank, we do have the Guzzlord. Absolutely love using Guzzlord. I'm telling you, I love Guzzlord so much. I feel like I use it more in the Ultra League, but I do love it in the Great League as well. I mean, the damage there. I think it's a cool design as well. I mean, that's nothing to do with the Pokemon's performance, but I just think it's a cool Pokemon in general. Galarian Stunfisk, I probably rated this a little bit too high. Maybe this should have been put in the other options. It's still a good Pokemon. It's just, I mean, Rock Slide was nerfed, right? Earthquake was nerfed. So, I mean, they're definitely better options. I feel like this probably shouldn't belong in the B ranking, but still, it's not bad. This season, we did see Steel Wing be given to Empoleon, which is pretty cool. Definitely helped out Empoleon over Waterfall. So Empoleon's definitely better than how it was, for sure. Gallade. Oh, Gallade receives Psycho Cut. Gets to those Leaf Blades close combat so fast. The only thing is, Gallade can absolutely not take a hit, especially if you're running the Shadow Glade. So, in my opinion, Gallade generally prefers... having a shield advantage or energy advantage or both to perform well, because even if it's going up against like a Feraligatr, it's taking so much damage from the Shadow Claws. Yes, a Leaf Blade will like pretty much just KO the Feraligatr, but Just something to keep in mind. It's still a good Pokemon, and I do like using it myself. I haven't used it a whole lot, I guess, but I've tried it when the season began. It was pretty fun. And then we have Goodra, another dragon type. Goodra did receive the buff to Aqua Tail this season, which was pretty cool. I'm waiting for the Community Day. We're all going to assume it's coming next season, right? Gumi Community Day. We'll see what it's given. I don't know. I feel like it could benefit from a move over Power Whip, so we'll see what it gets. But maybe Body Slam, who knows? Well, if they give it Body Slam, it'll be a lot like Dragonair, maybe, except bulkier. Fair enough, but we'll see. Next up, Poliwrath. I thought Poliwrath would be a lot worse when Annihilate came out, and it really isn't. It's still really good. Obviously, the debuffs from Icy Wind, Scald, just super, super powerful. I mean, this Pokemon went crazy last season, and then still really strong. And then we have Dragonair, Shadow Dragonair. The Dragon Breath damage is insane, and this does have Body Slam and Aqua Tail, as I mentioned when I was talking about Goodra. Moving on to the other options, we do have Vigoroth. Maybe this probably should have swapped with Galarian Stunfisk. I do feel like Vigoroth is better than Galarian Stunfisk now. But, I mean, the counter Body Slam spam that you always had, and now you have Rock Slide, right? So, Rock Slide, of course, is great coverage. Bulldoze is just a terrible move. But, I mean, yeah, just a great general safe swap. It's so good in limited metas. Whenever Vigoroth is allowed in limited metas, you better believe you will see it. And then we have Pelipper. I actually hit Legend with Pelipper earlier. I'm talking years ago. And it was great back then. It's still a good Pokemon. I still like it. But I feel like they've been trying to help out Mantine a lot. I feel like maybe Mantine stole its spotlight. Obviously, both Mantine and Pelipper have really no play against Lantern or Charjabug. A little bit of play against Charjabug, if you can get the Hurricane off, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, Mantine is a lot bulkier than Pelipper, so something to keep in mind. Then we have Skeledirge, so a fire type. I was kind of mentioning we don't see them a whole lot in the Open Great League. You might see them occasionally. There's just so much water. I mean, they've been helping out water. So, I mean, look at it. Look at the top Pokemon. Feraligatr, Lantern, Wishcash. We have Azumarill, Quagsire, Swampert, and Polion. I don't really consider, just because you have Steel Wing. If you have Waterfall, yes, it's a great matchup. But because all Empoleons are going to run Steel Wing, not really great against fire types because the Steel Wing is resisted. And then the fire damage from like Incinerate is neutral towards Empoleon. Cloudsire, I actually really like Cloudsire. I didn't get a great one because during the Community Day, unfortunately, it was weather boosted. So I got like a rank I think like 500. I think that was like the best one I got. A couple 600, like 600. I never got a great one just because they were weather boosted. And then we have Swilius, another dragon. Not as good as some of the other dragons like Dragonair and Goodra and Guzzlord, in my opinion. But another dragon for you. And then we have Abomasnow. With all the water, Abomasnow is actually not a bad Pokemon. Yeah, pretty solid. I've actually run teams that were core broken by Abomasnow, but you don't see Abomasnow too often. And then we have Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff, definitely the best charm user in the game. It's kind of debatable. I feel like in this format it is, just because there's a lot of Lickitung safe swaps, right? Obviously Wigglytuff double resist Lick, which is great for you. So yeah, I mean it is part normal type in addition to the fairy typing, so it is taking neutral from counter, I guess, compared to like Granbull. But I mean just it's bulkier. It's just a great Pokemon. Charm and then Icy Wind for the debuff as well. Then we have Toxapex. Toxapex ultra thick. And then Venusaur as a grass type. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping grass is buffed next season, but we'll see. I feel like Magical Leaf deserves a buff. Magical Leaf is relatively decent, but it's not anywhere where it's like competitive. And when I say buff, okay, I know we don't want Razor Leaf uses like Victreebel. I don't mean buff Razor Leaf. I don't want that type of grass. I just want like a faster grass. I mean, Vine Whip is a great move though, so we'll see what they do. And then we have Gliscor, or Shadow Gliscor, another one. Gligar definitely takes the spotlight over this. And then we have Giratina Origin. You have to trade for this if you got it out of your research. I got lucky. I met someone who I knew. He's a local, and I see him every raid hour. We just became friends. We swapped, and mine went to 1474. His did as well. Same exact IVs. He doesn't battle, but still cool to have. That's what he said, at least, right? Cool to have it just in case for the future. And yeah, 1474, I know it's not the best IV, but it doesn't matter because you could only get it by trading, so you take what you can get, right? And then we have Defense Deoxys. Defense Deoxys, pretty good Pokemon, more so in the Ultra League, I guess, but It really shines there because of how bulky it is, but still a pretty good Pokemon. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the solid team options. The first team is going to be double wooded in the back for Alligator as a safe swap. I prefer the Shadow one, so hopefully you have it. It was in the rotation, the last rotation of Team Rocket, so maybe you have it. If not, you can use the regular one. And then I have Mantine here. You could go with another water type. You can go with Lantern if you want to for opposing water types. I think Lantern would be great. You can go with Wishcash. But if you go Wishcash, the backline obviously is going to hate grass types. So that's something to keep in mind. But, as I said, the safe swap going to be the Shadow for Alligator. And then, go from there. And I do like Crunch. Moving on, we have Skarmory, Wishcash, Gligar. So, you can go with... So, if I was using this team, I would prefer the Shadow Gligar, if you have one. The Wishcash could go either way. I've been enjoying the Shadow one, to be honest. But it could go either way, and same with the Skarm. They'll probably go with the non-Shadow. But yeah, I mean, ABA Flyers, but they really don't share the same weaknesses. Gligar is not weak at all to electric types. Obviously, Skarmory is. Neither of them are weak to, like, rock attacks, like from Bastiodon, even though... if you're the Skarmory, obviously you hate Bastiodon, but not really weak to it. If there's a Bastiodon in the lead, you can assume there's a Victreebel in the back. You safe swap to Gligar and see what they do. If they come in with the Victreebel, here's the thing, like Gligar, and I did make a mistake earlier this season. Gligar takes neutral damage from the Razor Leafs, so it's probably best to just farm all the way down, because if you throw an attack, you will get a shield against the Victreebel, but they'll be able to shield and like farm you down. Maybe they'll have to double shield, but they'll still be able to farm you down. If you just go for the wing attack down, it's going to be close, but you should be able to get the farm down. I was able to. It might depend on IVs, I'm not sure, but it's just something to keep in mind. Moving on, we have another team, Cresselia in the lead with Annihilate and Reggie Steele. So, this team is not going to appreciate fire types should you run into any, but as I said, they're not super common. You do have play in the back line. Maybe the Future Sight and Cresselia on this team. Future Sight Grass Knot just to have that coverage against fire types. I did say earlier, when it comes to Cresselia, it really depends on the team. And then we have another team. We have the Shadow for Alligator with the Lickitung as a safe swap. Great safe swap. And then Charge a Bug. So if you don't win the lead, if you don't like your lead, you go into Lickitung. Then moving on, we have another team. It's going to be the Dragonair or the Shadow Vision. I recommend the Shadow Vision, even though I have a pretty bad IV one that I use. And it definitely loses break points. So I do want to get a better one. But I do like Dragonair a lot. And then Wishcash, Skarmory in the back. And then we have another team, Double Dragon, with Dragonair and Goodra, with Lantern in the lead. The safes are definitely going to be the Shadow Dragonair. But, you could replace, like, the Goodra for, like, Guzzlord, I guess. I like Goodra. I've been enjoying Goodra, and it is new. But for this season, well, it's not really new. It's just more so new because they buffed Aquatail, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's going to be the Open Great League for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck again this season as it comes to a close. Have a good day. Bye.